Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide evening. It is finals week for the multi-category tournament, 1v1 tournament. We're actually on match night 4 of this series, the Joneses special. Judge Joe currently has a 2-1 lead over Narves, and I'm not alone in the booth today. I am joined by the Schwans 27, who I believe you've been with them throughout the whole week, right? Doing the tournament?
Yeah, we've seen both of the previous matches that you could now find on YouTube. I was doing the commentary for both of these matches, so very exciting to see here if Narves can even up the score at 2, or if tonight we will be crowning our first 1v1 multi-category tournament champion.
And this is a pretty crazy tournament, because usually you're like, oh, I'm pretty good at Ultras League. Oh, I'm pretty good at, like, draft or something like that. This is like you have to be equipped to do every kind of facet that we provide here at the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide community, which we are the randomizer for Final Fantasy VI, more competitive side, which some of the other randomizers out there are, but you really have to be versed in all of these other individual kind of flag sets, really.
Yeah, so this could potentially be crowning what I believe is the most versatile player in the Worlds Collide community. What are the options that our runners are going to get up to tonight? What the heck even is a Jones special? Well, glad you asked, let me tell you.
This is the most interesting and probably non-Final Fantasy Worlds Collide version that we play it, pretty much.
Yeah, so in order to unlock Final Kefka, there are 5 of 8 random objectives, and we'll go over them when the seed starts. But as far as other things go, there are a couple of more random objectives with random rewards or punishments, as we'll see when we load up the flags here. Steals and drops are shuffled and 100% randomized. Shops are completely empty, so keep your money, keep that in your pocket. We're going to be rich this seed, boys and girls. Chests are random scaled, which means that they are not based on location. They're based on the numerical sequence. So Narves' first chest and Joe's first chest are going to contain the exact same thing, even if they're not the same chest. And the chests are usually not as great as they are in standard. There is no Ultima. However, we do get to run around a bit with B-Dash, and we do get the sequence break with YNPC set to remove. The scaling is slightly bumped up from your standard with 2.5 times characters, Espers, Dragons for your enemy level, HP and MP, where it's only 2 times CED for XP and GP with a maximum level of 50. So Saber Wolf, let's see exactly what these 8 random objectives rolled that we are going to have to go for Final Kefka unlock here. And some of them are pretty easy. However, some of these might take a little bit for us to get to here. So as we see up on the screen here, Judge Joe in that eyesore purple, I guess we'll call it, right?
Yeah, it looks we'll call it purple camo, I guess we could call it.
It looks like that purple is like shingles or something on him. Anyway, so that is defeat 7 dragons, do the Phoenix Cave check, recruit 3 characters, which is fine because we start with 3 characters. Win a Coliseum match, that's pretty easy to do. Find 17 Espers, that's a lot. Defeat 2 bosses, we'll probably end up doing that. Find the Shiva Esper, not boss, and recruit Cyan. So we need to complete 5 of those, and I think 3 of them are pretty easy to do. Some of the other ones, not so much.
Yeah,
the additional objectives are a bit spicy. Do you want to go into those here?
Yeah, so some of the bonus stuff that we have available to us is Dragoon gear. You don't see on the picture, but Dragoon gear, they get Dragoon gear if they fight 31 bosses. Well, that's probably not going to happen.
Something has gone horribly wrong if we get the Dragoon set.
They'll also add 42 levels to Final Kefka if they suplex a train. Probably not going to happen either.
But do you do it for the memes, though?
You could do it for the memes. Now, interesting enough, if they find Setzer, they'll have auto imp, which means every time they go into combat, they'll be imped unless they can find a ribbon or a white cape, which is going to be interesting because if you have auto imp, if you have Setzer, if you can find Setzer, if you're Chris Setzer, he's like a trap because that means you have to have a white cape or ribbon, and that's not guaranteed because we have to get our items from random chests or from random fights. So that
Right,
could be
no
interesting.
shops.
Last but not least, you also learn all the Magitech abilities. Once you fight 10 bosses, that should be pretty easy late game.
Right.
But you should be able to get that as well. They do start
Oh
with
my
one Esper
god.
though, so that's gonna be okay. That's helpful. They start with one Esper.
Yeah, we threw a shiny stone on the board here. So, Saberwolf, assuming we don't start with Setzer, if you see Setzer as a check reward, do you reset out of it? Like, what is your strategy going to be
With
there?
Setzer, I mean, you might want to pass on that because you really don't need the characters. Yes, you need the characters to get other things.
Well, we
But
start with
looking at the
3,
list of
right?
stuff we have in front of us, there are other ways of getting stuff to
Hmm.
complete it. I mean, we could see 2, maybe even 3, maybe even 4 pretty instantly, depending on what we start with the crew. So I'm gonna give runners 30-second warning here, and we'll get the
All right.
king ticked off here.
Yeah, so out of these objectives I'm seeing, win a Coliseum match is going to be hopefully straightforward. Defeating 2 bosses is going to be pretty easy. We start with 3 characters, so that one is already done. And then we have, so that's 3 of our 5 that are pretty straightforward. Hopefully we start with Cyan, because then that's Recruit Cyan done. And if we start with Locke, then that's Phoenix Cave done, and that's our 5. So I think the bottleneck is going to be, can we find Locke? Can we find Cyan? Or are we going to go on an Esper hunt for either Shiva or 17 of them? Because we do have access to YNPC remove, so we could easily get to 7 dragons, but that's a lot of dragons to go kill. And we are going to start off here, and let's see exactly. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted because I was just freaking out. So that's
Can we
that's B
re-roll
dash,
this
by the
scene?
way. That's why our characters are moving super fast across the thing. But yeah, we got Censor in the party. So that's bad. That means we are
God.
absolutely going to be imped. So we have to find the white capes and the ribbons. And unfortunately, like we said before, that's only gotten if we find it a random chest or if we fight random fights for it. And but the thing is, if we fight random fights for it, our entire team's going to be muted or imped, so it's going to be rough.
So the good news about Setzer is that he has steel. The bad news about Setzer is that he is Setzer in this flag set, right?
But the good news, we have good news. There's a slight glimmer of good news. Phoenix Cave is one of the objectives, so that means automatically, pretty much, Phoenix Cave will be pretty much knocked out because we have Locke in the party. We start with 3 characters, so that objective's already done. When a Coliseum match, that's pretty instant. Fight 2 bosses, that's pretty much gotten when you fight through the whole thing. Because if you do Locke's tunnel armor check and Setzer's tomb check alone, that's going to satisfy that. So pretty much we're already at like 4 of 7 objective, 4 of the 5 needed objectives to get through this already. And this is really interesting. Economizer dead check in the belly of the beast there
I'm surprised Joe is skipping that many chests, knowing that we have to find a ribbon or a white cape. Maybe our runners don't yet realize that the shops are empty.
Yeah, they might have forgotten that. Again, Jones's flag set is extremely different than all the other flag sets we have, pretty much in the community, because Jones's flag set is really based off of a lot of other Final Fantasy randomizers, like 4 and like 5 and 1, where you have to do, and even Chrono Trigger, where you have to do specific things within the game in order to unlock the end of the game or be able to finish the game. For Final Fantasy X Glide, we usually go for characters Espers wise to get the Kefka unlock here. But in this instance, this is going to be a little bit different because we need to do specific things in order to get the Kefka unlock.
I think Narves just broke the game. The bugs that he fought, the very first fight, dropped 3 ribbons. So now,
what?
He solved the imp problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is wild.
Well, okay. Well, here's interesting. If Judge cannot find that bug battle, which I think is like right outside in Arch, right? In World of Ruin?
Yeah, this is World of Balance. Take off the Moogle charm when you land the airship.
Oh, balance.
Holy cow. That is Oh
So,
my God,
so
Nars
okay.
hitting the jackpot here in the seed.
Well, if that's the case, and if Judge Joe cannot find that fight immediately, our series, Judge Joe leads 2-1 in the best of 5 series. If that's the
Mhm.
case, Narves could tie this up, which means we would have to go to Game 5, which would be Game 5 would be tomorrow night if needed, and that is good old Ultras League. We just finished Season 8, y'all. So then we'll be going to that then. So we'll have to go back into the stats there and see what their if Narves is way ahead. We'll dive into the stats in Ultras League. We'll give you a little sneak peek on what we think the winner of that will be, depending on what they finished this past season. So
Yeah, so Judge Joe, I know, is in my pod in Megalixir, so he's
okay,
a very good Ultras League runner, and I believe Narves was in Elixir this past season, but he's definitely been in Megalixir in previous seasons, so
all right.
I might have to give the advantage there to Joe. However, it is not looking very good for him unless he, finds an encounter that drops ribbons, which is insane. I thought that this was going to be a throw the seed in the bin, light it on fire, take the bin and throw it down the street. But Narves is trying to get that bug formation once again to get that 4th ribbon for when we eventually get another character. So this means now that we still have one objective that we kind of have to go hunt down, right? We mentioned 4 of them are kind of available to us at the moment. We have find Cyan or recruit Cyan, find the Shiva Esper, get 17 Espers, which is why that number there is in gold, or kill 7 dragons. So one of those 4 things is what we're going to have to do in order to get Final Kefka unlock. And I would be going for character checks and trying to get Cyan as soon as I possibly could. So the interesting thing to note is that there is a difference between the common drops and the rare drops in Worlds Collide. So sometimes the enemies might not drop the same thing that they have dropped on the last one.
Is Narves just grinding for fights, or is he trying to find one more ribbon for a 4th character?
I think he needs to find one more ribbon for a 4th character.
It looks like the bugs is actually the rare encounter here, as we haven't seen it for quite a bit here. Just a little tidbit of information on the whole Ultras League thing. Narves, again, was an Elixir runner. They averaged a 120.47 over the course of 8 races. Joe averaged 116, about even, in 7 races. Now, that is to note that they did not run the same exact seeds, though.
Right.
So their seeds were completely different, but just to note that Joe statistically was technically faster than Narves by about 4 minutes. So it does lean a little bit towards Joe than it does to Narves there. And I think also Joe was able to, is going to stay in Megalixir next season, finishing tied for 5th. So not to bring that one up for you, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I mean, you and I could be in the same group next. You and I could be in the same group next season.
Yeah, I got ruined. Megalixir runners are too good for me. So Joe did do a couple of our free checks here. We did get Shadow out of the Coliseum Cafe. It looks like Narves is going to grab that offering. There was an economizer, I believe, in Zone Eater Belly, so he doesn't actually need that economizer at all. And that's all the free checks we have access to until we got Shadow for Judge Joe. So we can go to Gal Manor and see what is there. And this is not a fun fight. So let's get the heck out of here. Let's do a steal, maybe.
Well, I mean, Roulette did target itself, so, I mean...
Yeah. That's very nice.
I mean, if you let this thing just kill themselves, I mean, it's a 33% chance if you just let it kill itself.
Yeah, it's got, well, if you looked at the Pearl Wind, it had 1,600 health, and okay, we've got a Hawkeye, but other than that, we don't have any offense, right? Because our abilities are X, Magic, and Steel. Not exactly things to ride home about.
Judge Joe did find an Enhancer, Ice Rod, and a Cat Hood here in the Returner's hideout, so that's good. Curse Shield 9 on Narves' side of the screen. So that's,
well, we got ribbons from the bug fight, why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely break the shield. I mean, if you're just going to sit there and grind fights, I mean, why not? You actually could, I'm wondering what the Vel Lobo would be. Well, it would be Lobo anymore, because Narves has some other fights, but...
Right.
But I would be
Joe finding out
Lobo Dev.
Joe finding out the bad news there, maybe, or maybe that's just muscle memory. I know that when I have empty shop seeds, I will sometimes accidentally hit the shop button, but finding out that the shops are empty means, oh goodness, I gotta go get some more chests. That's usually how I feel. It rewards the inner loot goblin that I know so many in our community have. X Magic is... I don't really like X Magic very much. It doesn't allow you to cast an Esper with the X Magic command. And on top of that, the animation for casting 2 spells instead of 1 is extremely slow. Not only that, but your characters will act very slowly. So even if you input the X Magic commands and then you put in a fight command from somebody else, let's say, that fight command might sometimes win. Joe did, however, find some imp gear, a titanium and a tortoise shield. So if he stays in imp, then he's going to be kitted out there.
Well, I mean, one good thing about imp status, though, is if you can find the 3 parts of the imp gear, I don't think the weapon really matters that much. But as long as you find
we did find some boots. Yeah,
I mean, if you can find the 3 parts of the imp armor gear, you're actually more defensive than maybe even Yamaro with a snow muffler. I mean, it is pretty beefy imp gear on an imp character. So you could actually turn that into an advantage if you can find the right parts. Now we're seeing the Coliseum play here on Narv's side. I did see an Abba weapon and a Pearl Lance. There's that Pearl Lance we're talking about for the jumping aspect there. Snow muffler also available too. You do have to do 1 fight here in order to get the... Kefka unlocked, so I guess we're just trying to tool up, see which of our gladiators are going to enter the arena here.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Pearl Lance, you need to wager an offering, and I don't know if I'd go do that. Yeah. I think the offering is probably more valuable than the Pearl Lance, but Narvs is going to go grab this Dragon Horn here. I know that one of them looted Dragoon Boots. I'm not quite sure which one, but either way, that's still in the high-tier relic slot. So
definitely Joe must have, because Joe is just looting like crazy. So
yeah. All right, so as you mentioned, Saberwolf, the real goal here is to get 1 part of that Kefka unlock, and Narvs just did, so I'm going to write that down. Our runners both have the 3 characters there, so Narvs technically in the lead with 2 pieces towards go mode, and Judge Joe has just 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not able to track, because Jojen's special is very different than all the other flag sets that we run commonly here at Worlds Collide. We don't really have a way to track the extra ones. I guess what I could do is I can put next to their name how many parts of unlock they have done. I guess you could say, since 3 characters is 1 already, they haven't fought the 2 bosses yet, so I guess we're going to say 2 if they're winning Coliseum. So I put 2 next to Narv's name. I'll put a 1 next to Jones's name here.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
There. So we'll do it that way.
So in addition to some of the other negatives I mentioned about X Magic, another ding against X Magic is enemies can counter in between your 2 spell casts, which sometimes might not be ideal. As there is Edgar with natural jump, find a better pair. Maybe peanut butter and jelly, but I think, natural jump Edgar is definitely at the top of that list there.
Yeah, I mean, considering that I think the equipment is only 33%, Edgar's already able to use all the spears. We know where a Pearl Spear is on Narv's side of the screen in that Coliseum, so it does make it very possible for our Dragoon Edgar to go out, because we're not going to get it the other way. Dragoon gear is 31 bosses. That's pretty much fighting every single boss in the game. So I highly doubt we're going to get it that way. So.
All right, so it looks like Joe, where's he going? Joe is going to be doing some grinding. So let's see if he gets the bug encounter or if he just gets unlucky here. So this is a premium grind spot for a lot of players because there are 3 different environments in this one area. You can walk around in the desert and find some enemies. You could walk around in the grass, find some enemies, and then you could walk around inside of the South Figaro Cave and also find some enemies. Unfortunately, this is going to take a very long time, and these enemies will come back because they are insta-dead. Bit unlucky there for Joe.
It's like, run! Well, interesting enough, Joe is actually in the right neighborhood for the ribbon effect here that Narves has already. So that's interesting. Wait, can Humpties be killed with Revivifies then?
Yes, they can.
Oh,
they are
interesting.
undead. Same with that black dragon over there on Narves' screen. But remember, Saberwolf, we can't go buy Revivifies chops.
Yeah.
So we're gonna want to hold on to those as much as possible here.
Yeah, I hope you tucked yourselves into bed tonight, guys, as we start at around 10:30 on the eastern coast side of the United States here for us, for at least me and Schwantz here. So tuck yourselves into bed because they're going dick wild, guys. I'm just saying. But I mean, we already have 4 of the 7 pieces pretty much in play already. We just have to do Phoenix Cave at some point, really. So really only looking for fighting 7 dragons, the Espers, the Shiva, or the Cyan. So,
yeah, I think the bottleneck is going to be right. There's only, there's only, if I can math, 9 more characters that we haven't found yet, right? And Cyan is one of those 9. Whereas there are 27 Espers, and Shiva is one of those 26 that we haven't yet found.
Yeah, so the chances of getting the Esper is a lot higher than actually doing this with the other stuff, so...
Yeah.
Or Cyan.
The problem is there are a lot more checks that could yield you Espers versus characters, right? So... Floating Continent looking awful good right about now as soon as we get some levels.
Yeah, that's going to give us a couple more grind fights for maybe some more drops and some items maybe to take, and then we'll get those bosses to get us some more extra levels. I believe the first and last part of Kefka's, the Floating Continent, I believe is guaranteed, so...
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get some good progression off that, plus the fact that first and last is guaranteed to be a character or an Esper, so that's always nice in there too. Edgar apparently not getting the ribbon treatment here on Narves' side. I guess he's improving his looks, I guess, for the ladies in the game.
Yeah, you can't wear 3 relics, right? So when you have boots and horn, you're kind of stuck. And god, this is. I don't know if we could do this fight here.
I don't think we could do this fight. No. The Infrared fight is Shiva fight is really awkward because Infrared is incredibly tanky defensively against physical attacks. And he absorbs almost, or is immune to almost all the elements except for ice. So unless you have... We do have an ice rod.
We do.
But I don't think one ice rod's really going to kill it, so...
No.
Oh, we already have jumps, so we don't need a dragon horn. So we could use a ribbon. He has a dragon horn.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
he has natty jump. So, he could have a ribbon. I guess he's just, he just wants to be looking better for the ladies with imp form. I don't know. Maybe that's how he picks up the girls. Spoilers if you ever play the actual part of the game. Okay, guys, so you're saying.
Yeah. Alright, so what's Narves going to look for here?
Probably that Pearl Lance. Well, which is the offering.
Okay, he is trading in the offering for the Pearl Lance. This is
that's not an easy fight either.
Here.
This is not an easy fight. Vector Goyle?
Oh, come on, Locke. What are you doing?
He's sending Lockett, who has the curse shield, so he's going to take extra damage off that. Yeah. Probably the wrong character to get in there with.
All right. Joe getting a nice, good fight for him, an undead enemy that he could finally one-shot there and get some levels underneath his characters.
Oh, that's where the offerings are from. Okay, so the offerings were from the Black Dragon, so... He might have might have multiple offerings because he did fight 1 or 2 dragons, so...
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joe has not found those bugs, which he was in the right neighborhood for with those Humpties, but... Unfortunately, not having the right weaponry to get the Humpies, so Humpty Dumpties.
No. Well, part of the problem is when you're an imp, you can't really hurt anything very much. The offering wing edge is a pretty good strategy for grinding because it does allow for instant kills, and you get 4 chances at an instant kill. So that is, I think, now that Joe has found a couple of encounters here that he can grind on, hopefully he continues to grind in the grass and gets that bug encounter.
Yeah, there is that little section of grass he could get into a fight with before the desert part, but it looks like he's just sticking to the desert, so might not be getting those bugs, unfortunately, because the bugs would be in that grassy section right between the ship there and the desert.
Yeah, yeah.
But we already know that it looks like that's the rare encounter version, because there's different tiers of encounters
Right.
through the fights and such, and if that's the rare encounter, that means you're going to see that less and less. You're going to see Humpties more. So that's going to be the trick. Is not only does he have to try to get the encounter, but he also has to get that encounter in between where the cave is in the desert. So
Yeah, and he has to be able to kill that encounter with a team of imps, right? The problem is if you're doing just if you're doing just the wing edge with offering, you can't actually kill the Humpties with that set of things. So maybe what Joe is doing here is doing some grinds, getting some levels up, and trying to figure out where we can go and get ourselves some good gear here, perhaps.
and like we said, make sure you tuck yourselves a bit and get some cocoa, guys, because this is going to be. Jones's seeds are known to be a bit longer than usual. I mean, you can have giraffes that can go that direction, but yeah, it can happen. And Narves,
I think that was
Joe. No.
So for Narves, that was an Illumina drop here from one of the enemies. He took off the Moogle charm in Mount Zozo, which we don't have Setzer. Don't adjust your trackers. We don't have Setzer. However, we do have YNPC set to remove.
Oh, ouch.
So we are allowed to sequence break into Setzer's check here.
Cyan?
And, excuse me, yes, you're right, Cyan's check. Oh, and Aura Lance steal as well? Oh, Narves is getting all the good stuff. So
yeah,
really playing to the strengths of this flag set with the shuffled steals and drops here.
Also, don't be surprised in this run, guys, if Narves, the projection that Narves is going in right now, he's way out in front where Joe's position is. So do not be surprised if, I think he has to leave to revivify Setzer because he doesn't have Tensor sleep back or something to get him back up. So
I think
don't be surprised if Joe does forfeit at the end of this run. Because it could be that much of a gap, so...
Yeah. I think Narves is going to go get another ribbon, now that he has an Aura Lance for Locke. Or maybe he's going to do exactly what you said and just hit a healing bucket and go back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So... can you can use magic as an imp, can't you?
No.
I thought you could.
You can only use the imp spell, and remedy spell, I think, as an imp to get rid of the status.
So one of Joe's characters just learned the imp spell.
Well, that's...
I don't know which one it was, but one of them did.
Well, I mean, that's nice and all, but you have to cast it in every single fight.
Listen,
I know. Beggars can't be choosers, I know. But I'm just saying, that's going to be slow as bleep, I'm just saying.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So now that would be where, we were talking about X magic before. That would be the perfect use case for X magic.
Yeah, yeah. If you could quick X magic imp at the start of a fight, yeah, it's gonna take a while, but hey, at least everybody will be able to fight.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, shout out to Rockchalk 2010 and Bowski 40 for the follows while we were offline. Thank you very much for those.
Huge plays. Thank you. Alright, so we got Search the Skies for Narves here with Rexol. I thought he was gonna do dragon checks, but he got out of the...
Yeah, I mean, do you have the power for dragon?
Mount So-So.
Because we
got a couple of ice rods in a drop.
How does the scaling work? Like, does it still scale off the characters and espers you get?
That's correct. So it's characters, espers, dragons times 2.5.
So Narves is at, well, he just picked up an esper. So at 7 is 14 is what is that, 17?
Yeah, so, 17, 18, something
17,
like
18
that.
right around. Oh, golden hairband, that's cool. Yeah, so I mean, he could. Nars could
I don't
technically
think
get a dragon, close
Narv's.
it out.
Yeah, Narv's has got an Illumina, and they have a, jump and Dragonhorn character, and
One,
that's gonna be good
two,
enough for now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, technically on Narv's side, he does 6. He has 6 of the 7 dragons available to him because he has Edgar and Locke.
hmm
So
Well, we have
technically,
YMP. We have YMPC removed, so we have access to all of the
oh, he has
dragons.
so he can get the 7 dragon unlock then.
That's
That would
correct. Yes.
definitely
So
give him the level, and he definitely get the levels to get in. I mean, the only problem is
yeah,
he just needs offense. I mean,
that's certainly the most straightforward way to do it is to go ahead and
green cherries, okay.
yeah, you can use green cherries and you can use the imp spell. So there you see Judge Joe unimping his characters here. So that's going to be his strategy going forward if he does not find those ribbons, which I don't think he will at this point. I don't know who is
No.
going to be taking off the Moogle Charm after the first couple of minutes. So
Yeah, his only hope is if a different monster drops ribbons or white capes at this point.
Right,
white
right,
capes would
right.
be cool too. I mean, that's imp and I believe mute, right? Is the other one?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Or just keep running into these non-rabbits and they'll remedy you out of it. I mean, that could happen too.
Well, remedy actually doesn't work on.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't work on him. You're right.
Yeah. It's one of those weird statuses that remedy doesn't cover.
Yeah. By the way, so the whole X Magic Imp thing, that's definitely what Judge Joe is doing. So,
Yes.
I mean, I guess there's no other way of going about it right now.
No, that's the strategy.
Ooh, Rich
Throw
Frogs.
the running
This is interesting.
Throw the running shoes on Locke and have him do imp. Unfortunately, none of his other characters can do much right now. So I think what Joe's strategy is probably going to be go hunt down my dragons and hope I get some big sticks. We did see that we did have an Illumina for Narvs, and it looks like I think Shadow is the one that's using the Illumina right now, if I'm not mistaken. So no, I'm wrong. It's Locke. Yeah, a bit of a slog here with this fight. And that's because his enemies are level, 12 and a half, 13? Oh, we have Edgar doing the hokey pokey there on Narv's screen. That's what happens when you go to jump on an enemy and the enemy jumps. You kind of get in this weird, continuous jump state, and uh-oh. Joe's got very low HP. Come on, Joe, pull out this fight.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he's hanging on by a thread here. By the way, just to explain what Imp is, yes, it changes what your character looks like, but it reduces your attack to 0. Makes their base strength used to determine attack damage. So that means you can use a Hyper Wrist.
Oh, he got it. Let's go.
Nice. Sensor did go down, though, but at least the rest of the party survived. You just survive and advance there. You're allowed to use attack, items, magic, revert, mimic, row, defend, jump, dual cast, which is X magic, pray, and which I guess is heal, and shock.
Is pray heal or is it
pray's health?
Okay.
Yeah, they changed it to pray to match Rosa's ability for Final Fantasy IV.
Got it.
Which
so Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide runs off of the Final Fantasy III version 1.0 Super Nintendo game. So that's why you see different terminology. We try and use the Super Nintendo terminology, but there are wikis in every different, version of the game. Ice 3 and Dos Fuego. Yeah, this is going to be rough because Joe has got the levels now, but he doesn't have the ribbons.
Yeah. By the way, thank God B Dash is on. I'm just saying. I mean, that does help us speed up the process a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm still surprised that he got into a regular fight there. Oh, that's another Lumina.
Well, potentially.
That's the fight that Nars was looking for. Oh, buckler. Yeah, womp womp.
Yeah, so let's see if we get the Illumina here from this. No, it was
No,
a
it was a
potion this
potion.
time.
So Lumina is the rare drop, I guess, then?
I don't know. It depends.
Yeah. Well, let's see how long Narves does for this. Now, this is our first real comparison between Judge Joe's strength versus Narv's strength. Narv's obviously is probably a far ahead, but this is really going to be our first real check here of what our damage output is. And Judge Joe, unfortunately, seeing the infrared on their side of the screen for the first time.
Yeah, they did not learn that Ice 3 yet. So maybe for Joe, this is go learn Ice 3 and come back later.
Narves does have 5 or 6 ice rods, now 4 or 5 now. So
Yep.
Joe Narves could go back and do that infrared fight now, technically.
Oh, I see
Oh,
what
that's
Joe's
yeah, that was a
doing
lot
here.
faster.
I see what Joe's doing here. He's going to mimic the Ice Rod over and over again with Go-Go.
Interesting stat that we found out in the Worlds Collide community based on Ultras
Nice.
League. Go-Go is statistically the fastest character to have in your party. Which
That's interesting.
I didn't know that. Yeah, statistics show, thanks to our stats companion, courtesy of Perlo Canadres, that the fastest character in Final Fantasy VI for at least
Oh,
Ultras
boy.
League is Go-Go. Believe it or not.
So normally a throw Gao is incredible. However, we don't have any shops, and his lore list is terrible.
Yeah, so average time by photo par remember. Go-Go's ranked number 1 at 1 hour 19 minutes 55 seconds, followed by Setzer, Diane, Terra, and Celeste. Those are the top 5.
Oh, I thought you meant like in the game, the Go-Go has the highest speed.
No, I guess according to like used par remembers for the final fight. Apparently.
Got it.
It's Go-Go, Setzer, Cyan, Terra, and Celeste. Believe it or not.
All right, so it looks like we are going to get Gao in the party here. We do have a lot of spells, but we do have a pretty good Esper there. That Unicorn Esper that we got from the South Figaro Cave, the Tunnel Armor spot, has got some decent Espers on it. I think both of our runners doing a similar strategy here. It looks like they're just attacking dragons at this point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on Judge Joe's side on his tracker, he does not track boss fights. So we'll have to guess on his boss fights. Right now, I believe, is at 0. Narves is currently at 1 boss fight, so they have not reached that 2 boss threshold yet.
He killed Ifrit.
Judge Joe? Oh yeah, he did. That's right. So because he did.
Yeah, so this will be the second boss for Joe.
What boss fight was that? It's not even on his tracker.
South Figaro Cave was Ifrit.
Okay, yeah, it's not on his tracker. That's weird. Must manually track them.
Yes, he does manually track. Yep.
Well, there's a round.
Yep. All right, so we're seeing Phoenix Cave here from Narves. I'd have to imagine that Narves is going to grab the dragon here while he's in the Phoenix Cave.
Yeah, I mean, 7 dragons with the... Yeah, you have access to all the dragons, the 7 of the 8 dragons. The only one you don't have access to is the Tower Dragon, I believe. So...
I mean, you can still go fight the Fanatics Tower Dragon. You could even go get the item at the top. You just can't get the reward at the bottom.
Right. Okay, so really all of them are. Yeah, you're right, all 8.
Right, we've got access to all 8 of them with YMPC remove.
And in case you're wondering, but Tour the Kefka's Tower, well, yeah, he can get the Kefka's Tower before he actually fights his Kefka. I mean, you can still do the drag. You still go into Kefka's Tower. You can still do the Dragon's Kefka Tower. You can't just actually fight Kefka. That's the thing. So.
Yeah, that was a question that came up in our Discord earlier, actually. The objective is to unlock the final fight, not to unlock the final dungeon.
Right.
So you can go into Kefka's Tower as long as you have 3 characters in your party. That's the only sort of restriction. If you don't, then you'll get a message that's kind of like, but we're not powered up yet. We can't land here. And it'll kick you out.
Yeah, Joe pretty much going with the Lock Shadow carry here. I mean, Ruxel's not a horrible fight in this situation because all he has is physical attack damage. So,
Right.
I mean, this is not the worst.
He would
fight.
like to uncurse that shield, though.
Oh, Red Dargan. We do have the ice rods for this.
Yep, there we go. Wherever they are.
Yeah, wherever they are, somewhere on the stack. There they are. Hey, we found them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
Hey, that's the second boss for Joe. So technically, he takes the lead. I guess.
Well,
no, he's
He
tied.
hasn't
He's
done a
tied. Never
Coliseum
mind.
fight yet. Yeah, he hasn't done a Coliseum fight yet.
So
they're even at 2.
2, yeah.
And that is Dragon number 2 for Narves.
Oops.
See what that reward is there. Yeah, learning all the spells. Ooh, hello.
Ooh. That's a spicy.
Yeah, so who can now use the
Offering VK.
So who can use the Illumina?
Well, I mean, Edgar is an
Shadow
automatic user of it, but apparently Shadow can. And Shadow's not a bad character to be using Illumina either.
Yeah, so it looks like we're gonna have Setzer just hanging out for now. Whereas we've got Illumina with Shadow, we've got VK offering for the lock, and we got our Boots and Horn and Aura Lance there for Edgar.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Or rather, Jump
Setzer
and
is going to be
Horn,
the
sorry.
fourth wheel here, unfortunately, for a bit.
That's okay. We need somebody to throw some items every once in a while, right?
Okay, sometimes holding down B dash isn't the best thing when you're trying to kick corners there. So, it's okay to lay off the gas, guys. Okay, you don't have to be pedal to the metal the whole time.
Sometimes it's not great for precise movement there.
Esper for Narves and his ice cream for Phoenix Cave. That's Odin, not Shiva. We're actually looking for Shiva as one of the custom unlocks. Judge Joe working on their second Dargan right now. It is the Black Dragon.
Yeah, so Skull Dragon, weak to fire, so that Fire 2 spell. And here you see part of the problem with the Imp casting as a spell. If somebody's got like a Force Armor or a Force Shield, right? Because we got one of those, I think, from the Bolt Dragon.
Yeah,
it can cause your spells to miss, which Joe is finding out the hard way that this is going to be quite frustrating.
Yeah, fortunately, the high magic evade does affect the your ability to unimp yourself. So,
Yep.
Narv's moving on to one of Edgar's checks here, the Edgar series with the engine room here. Kind of an interesting one. I'm surprised we haven't done Floating Continent actually. But still, there's a dragon down here. That's why. Duh. There's a dragon on this
Yes. Yeah. So
oh,
I
God,
think
disaster. Oh, okay.
So I think for our runners, they are going to the devil that they know. Basically, they know where the 7 dragons are. They don't know where Cyan and Shiva is, right? So it's going to be a bit harder for them to find those one-offs. So I think this makes a whole lot of sense. Let's go do all the dragon checks we can, and if we happen to get either Cyan or Shiva along the way, cool, I don't have to do any more dragons. But if I don't end up finding them, then at least I'll have one way to get my Kefka unlock. Because remember, we got Phoenix Cave, we got Coliseum, we got 3 characters, and we got 2 bosses.
Interesting question, though. Not from the chat, from me. How does Auto Imp work with Kefka's tower? If you use a green cherry on tier 1, do you get re-imped on tier 2?
That's a good question.
We're also about to find out together. So.
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, does the statuses re-engage themselves on each tier, I guess is the question.
Yeah, because Auto Imp is a little bit different than some of the other auto statuses. I think it behaves more like Auto Image, right? So I'm inclined to say yes, you do get it on the second. Is this Magimaster?
No, it's Junior.
No. Okay.
Yeah, he would have backed out if this was Magimaster. Um, you're right, because image does renew itself on each tier, so I'm gonna have to probably agree with you on that.
Yeah,
SS.
it's just a guess. I don't. I've only played like one or two
It's been a while.
auto imp seeds in my entire life, and the behavior of auto imp is very weird. Like if you actually equip an imp halberd, sometimes it does the max damage, and then other times it doesn't. It depends on like if your party was healed before going into the fight, or if your imp continued on from a previous fight. It's very strange. It's the spaghetti code that is Final Fantasy VI, folks.
Interesting thing to point out with Narves is that as he's progressing through these checks, even though technically he's not going after the espers or characters, it is increasing the difficulty of the bosses and stuff he's actually fighting. And on that note, by the way, I think that was the second boss, so I think that makes it so they are now the boss. Yeah, so they got their two bosses, so now Narves
That's
is technically
correct, yeah.
3 and 5 now.
Yep, that's
3
correct.
of 5.
Oh. There's another character up there.
Okay. And it's a Dirty Dargan.
Ugh. These dead checks have been pretty bad. Other than the VK in Phoenix Cave on the Phoenix Cave Dragon.
Ooh, that hurt.
We unfortunately don't have access to Umaro's cave here.
Yeah, fortunately you cannot Y remove yourself into the only places that Y remove works is you can get yourself into Magitech, which Magitech actually wouldn't be a bad option either. Maybe.
So I think.
Well, no, it wouldn't be a bad option because you want to go Espers. So never mind.
So I think Joe also found a Valiant Knife. Maybe that was the drop from the Norse Dragon that I just didn't see. And Darkness points out in chat that Narves should actually be at 4 of 5 because they did Phoenix Cave already. So we'll go ahead and update that as well.
For which one, sorry?
So Narves did Phoenix Cave, so I'm going to put him at 4
Oh, you're right.
of 5.
So that's 4-5. You're right. So really, all he needs is dragons now.
Yep.
By the way, leveling, as we were talking about with the whole Esper's characters thing with scaling and all, it is capped at 50. Kefka, I don't think is scaled anyway, so, but you want to be around level 35-ish anyways for Kefka.
Yes.
At the bare minimum, really, to be comfortable. Yeah. That's Celeste, by the way.
Yeah, that is a Celeste there.
Doesn't really help us in the Dragon Train. Oh, okay. I was gonna say you're gonna leave Celeste behind. You do know I'm restreaming you, pal.
I mean, we don't really need her.
You need her. It's my girl, and it's vanilla.
No,
but you need her because it's my girl.
That would be an automatic loss there. So one of the fun things about Valiant Knife is that it actually doesn't suffer the same penalty that the other weapons do, in that, as you mentioned, Saberwolf, the attack power goes to 0. However, you still get the extra damage from losing your max HP minus your current HP. So that's where most of the damage from the Valiant Knife comes anyway. So it doesn't really matter if you are imped with the Valiant Knife. It makes a little bit of a difference, but it's not a significant difference. So Valiant Knife, and same thing with the fixed dice, the damage formula isn't affected by that. So those are two great weapons to have if you're stuck in the permanently imp state.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, Narves picking up, looks like learned Life 3 on top of having Golem. So definitely also getting the equipment for Final Kefka here, as Judge Joe's going to make their dive into the Phoenix Cave now. I don't think they've done a Coliseum fight still, so...
No, I don't think so either. Unless we missed it, which is possible.
It's possible.
We were so excited over the prospect of having Auto Imp with Setzer, you know?
Yeah, which Impa is now on... I wonder why he switched it to Locke now.
Because Locke is the one with the Valiant Knife, so it doesn't matter if Locke is imped or not.
Yeah,
Whereas,
apparently also gave him the curse shield, and
no, I think that was just an unlucky attack from one of the enemies there.
Interesting.
But yeah, so since Shadow has the Illumina, and since Edgar has got the Aura Lance, and Setzer, I guess, is going to be slinging spells for Narves, that leaves one person that has to be the Imp due to the fact that he's only got 3 ribbons. All right, it looks like Judge Joe is putting a Rage Ring on Gao. Gao has been dead a lot for Judge Joe, and that's because he's uncursing shield, right? And is this an in-stay for Narves? Wow. Deciding to just chill out in the Figaro Castle. I've only ever seen that one other time in a race.
Well, I mean, we don't have sleeping bags and tents really, right. So you got to stop where you can find it. Sometimes you got to pull off the exit and stay at the hotel if it's available.
Yeah, Narv's getting creative here. Make sure to give our runners a follow as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that putting the Rage Ring on Gao will mean that he'll absorb fire and nullify lightning. So hopefully that'll help Gao stay alive longer, which will help Joe uncurse that shield. Yeah, he's been having a heck of a time trying to do that.
Yeah, Rage Ring is an incredible item, especially when you put it on Yamaru, because not only do you give him Yamaru that special throw your fellow party members at things attack, it adds on to their snow muffler, giving him fire, lightning, and ice resistance, really. So,
yep.
So it's a really great item in the game. It's also a good item if you have Merton strats, because it does absorb that fire damage. So if you can't find the fire shield or Minerva or other items like that, Rage Ring is actually a pretty decent replacement for that, as Judge Joe now fights their 4th dragon. Actually, they're going to take the lead on here on dragons, so this race is actually not over here, folks.
No, not even close. Yeah, so the only question about the Rage Ring is, can your character wear it, right? Because in the vanilla game, it's relegated to just Umaro. However, in the randomizer, it depends on if that character can equip that relic or not. All right, so using the Phoenix Cave to lower his party's HP on purpose, unfortunately met with some resistance there from the Red Dragon casting Rage.
Yeah, Rage is a weird one from Red Dragon. I believe it's a lightning wind attack. Not a fire attack, so it's gonna...
No, it's a non-elemental attack, so it's gonna kill Locke again. Yeah. Ooh. So now does Joe continue on with this fight, or does he reset and try again? Question from the chat from Choco Kings: the Paladin shield requirements changed. So in the randomizer, you could set the number of curse shield battles, and in this particular seed, it was 9. So it was set from anywhere from 3 to 12 or 3 to 16, I believe. So we rolled a little high with 9, but 9 is still usually doable. However, Joe has been running into a world of trouble this seed with the fact that we got the auto imp objective basically right out of the gate on our whole party.
Yeah, our runners were right in the chat before the race, like, I hope we don't find Setzer. Fortunately, me and we will say that me and Swans here did have to peek the beginning of the race, because we had to see what the flags were, what the carding characters were, to understand how the race was going to go. So we did peek at least the start of the race, and we already knew that Setzer was at the party when they said it. So we're like, well, yeah, about that.
Yeah. So number 24 here, using the overflow ability, but thankfully did not target Locke with the Valiant Knife. All right, so this is going to be try number 2 for Joe here, because Red Durgan gave him the business the first time.
Yeah, round 2. So Narves probably is... I'm guessing they probably won't do the Tower Dragon. I'm assuming they're probably going to do the last 2 dragons in Kefka's Tower. And I would probably bet they would do a 004 sweep of the Kefka's Tower.
Mhm.
Because technically, from the right lane, you not only can actually fight the 3 bosses in that lane in the dragon, you can actually cross over the path and have them walk backwards to the other dragon. So
Yes,
I would actually
yeah,
look
you
for
can do that.
Narves to actually do a 004. In other words, throwaway character in each of the other 2 parties, and have their full party be the 4th party group. Um, because if I'm Narves, what are the chances of JoJo finding the ribbons that I found immediately at the beginning of the game? Okay.
Yeah, that's a thing with these flags, right? I would have done so much more looting to try and find those things and not done taking off the Moogle Charm kind of deal.
That was
So
another Valiant knife.
yeah, unfortunately only Gao can use it, and Gao has got throw and lore, so
We need to
can't
throw
do
the
it.
knife, technically.
Well, Gao did just uncurse the shield, so thankfully
Yay!
we are not going to have any dead Gaos for Joe the rest of the seed here. And we both have each of our runners with 4 dragons, and Joe is going to grab their Esper at the end of the Phoenix Cave here, so they will all of a sudden be up to 3 out of 5 of their requirements for Final Kefka here. I'm sort of in agreement with you, Saber Wolf. If I'm Narves, I kill this as dragon number 5, and then I go into Kefka's Tower and kill the 2 in there versus going in Fanatic's Tower, because his party is mainly physical offense based, whereas in Fanatic's Tower you need to have magic spells as the gimmick. Same
Yeah,
as
that's the other thing.
vanilla game.
Chocolate Kings saying that they practice WC all the time when the mod came out, and it says this randomizer tests your knowledge of the game extremely hard.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I even after playing this game for about 3 years, at least the randomizer portion, I played this game when it came out back in the 90s. But I always learn something new every single dang time I play this game.
Yep.
So it definitely tests your knowledge and definitely learn new things. Every time you play the game, so.
Yeah, our runners have to have both knowledge about the randomizer as well as a lot of vanilla game knowledge, because the randomizer doesn't stray a lot from the vanilla design of Final Fantasy VI. So it's one of those situations where the more you know about the vanilla game, the better off you'll probably be in the randomizer, because we didn't do a lot of crazy things. We didn't alter stats on weapons and gear. We didn't really alter boss scripts, although that's kind of a white lie because we did change the ability scaling. But if you know what the boss weaknesses are and what the boss tendencies are, you kind of know what they're going to do.
Well, there is one weapon we did change. We did change the Atma weapon statistics.
Yeah.
There's one weapon, only because traditionally when you run through this game, like I said, you're going to be around level 35-ish when you do these runs.
Oh my goodness, a ribbon in a chest.
Oh, what? Okay.
Let's
cool.
go.
In the Narv's case, he's level 37. Now, the problem with the Atma weapon is it doesn't come online in the vanilla part of the game until level 64. So the chances of you being level 64 in these randomizer speed runs like that is going to be almost 9 possible. Unless you found an experience egg immediately and it was a ridiculously long seed, then maybe you get to 64. But even then, you're only looking at the top 50, like maybe mid-50s. So by lowering the Atma weapon in this game down to 32, which is half, it actually puts it online right before you get into that Kefka level of fights then. So it actually makes it more usable for our runners to actually use the game. So the Atma weapon's the only item besides the number of battles you have to do with the curse shield to break it. Atma weapon's the only one we lowered down to 32 because if we didn't do that, it would make the weapon completely like useless almost. Other than the fact it does defense ignoring. By the way, I want to go back to Nars really quick. He actually did split the party up. He's not doing a sweep. He's actually going to risk doing the split party here.
Yeah, he's just going to do the tower all in one go instead of doing it twice. Yeah, I remember. I don't know, Saber Wolf, if you remember, the Atma weapon back before that change was an
Back
instant
in our
sell
day.
every single time. Like you'd find an Atma weapon and you'd always sell it because it'd never be useless or never be
Yeah.
useful. But now it's a little bit of a different story, which I like. It brings a little bit more of the vanilla game into the randomizer experience, right? And it gives us another toy to sort of play with here.
Yep.
All right, so Joe grabbing their 5th dragon here. It'll be interesting to see if they are going to go all the way down to the ancient castle, or if they're going to just go into Kefka's tower.
Oh, Joe did do the tower. That's interesting.
Yep.
Oh.
Fanatic's tower is way shorter than going down to ancient castle.
Gotta wait for the conga line.
you could Y remove those guys, I think.
No, actually you can't. It's
okay.
They are a static wall, moving wall. Believe it or not.
Interesting.
I don't think you can Y remove them. Which is
all right.
weird.
So Joe's heading into the tower here. I hope that he did the Coliseum and we just didn't remember him doing it.
I'm going to assume he did if he's diving in. This is incredible. Judge Joe did not find the ribbons at the beginning of the game like Narves did, and has resulted himself by using X Magic Imp at the beginning of some fights here. I think he did pick up a ribbon very late here to be able to split his party up a little bit. So it's an incredible achievement for Joe to only be approximately 4 minutes behind Narves, as Narves dived in at 50:42. He's diving at 54:42. So 4 minutes behind Narves still could be a the 4 minutes could be enough for Narves though, especially with the extra time loss that Judge Joe has to do to get his imp status off. So
yeah, I'm gonna go back in the VOD for Joe now, and I'm gonna see if he did Coliseum. So
okay.
If you hear some keyboard tapping, that's what I'm doing.
I thought you were saying Morse code there, like go back to the Coliseum.
No, I'm not helping him cheat.
No, yeah. So like Fightcrawler runs here for the Worlds Collide. Runners are completely blind to each other. They don't know what the other one's doing or where the other one is. So they only have to guess by their personal experience of their game, maybe some using some knowledge of maybe your past instances of playing against the other player, on where they might be able to be. And yeah, that is the difference of having Imp and not having Imp with Shadow there, dropping a 5.5k bomb on the Ultros there. Actually killing Ultros way faster than Narves did, so yeah, this race is technically not over.
No, not at all. Yeah, interestingly, in this 1v1 multi-category,
Lock, stop
like you mentioned, like in Ultras League and some other events, you're normally going up against like a collective of people, whereas in this tournament, you know who your opponent is, and you could play sort of that metagame of what is my opponent going to do, and maybe swerve to take a different approach that they would take there.
Oh, it doesn't tell you if you've got the unlock?
It does at the end of the battle, but I think since the messages went by so fast, you didn't see it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it didn't show it after the dragon there when he went out of the battle, so okay.
Yeah, I'm looking, and I'm still not seeing a Coliseum play, so...
I don't know how he got its unlock then.
No, I'm talking about for Joe.
That's what I'm saying. How else do we have gotten his unlock? I mean, unless he picked up Shiva.
No, Joe doesn't have his unlock yet. He doesn't have his dragons yet.
Yeah. Well,
So
no,
we'll see.
what other objective he did? I mean, to get it then, if he didn't do Coliseum. Unless he got Shiva or Cyan. I mean, I don't know.
I didn't see Shiva. Maybe that's just a mistake by us here. All right, so Narves, with Kefka unlocked, is going to continue on through the tower here. Oh boy.
Wow, French
the
vanilla Infero? Wow.
Yeah, so Joe still has to kill another dragon to get 7 dragons, but I don't think he did a Coliseum trip, which is why we have him down at 3 of 5. So we'll pay attention here when Joe kills this
Yeah,
7th
whenever
dragon.
this Go-Go team gets through to the dragon, we'll see.
All right, so Narv's smartly waiting to cast that spell because Inferno will cast Tech Barrier, and that essentially is safe plus reflect. So if Setzer tried to cast that Ice 3 on Inferno, it'd get reflected back to himself. So really nice game knowledge of the enemy scripts that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Okay, well, okay, so Joe actually is not doing the dragon there, so this might be their... So they might actually have done the 004 run.
Well, remember, he has only 5 characters, right? So he's got a party of 3, a party of 1, and a party of 1.
Yeah, but Go-Go by himself? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, you have to put one person in your main party by themselves, unless you're finishing the tower now.
Oh my goodness gracious.
No. Oh no! So Saberwolf, I don't know if you saw Kefka's tower in the last chaos race between.
No.
Or I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm doing this out of
race.
kindness of my heart because 10 p.m. was way past my bedtime because I usually get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, guys. So this is actually the first race of the series. I'm going to be fully honest with y'all that I've seen throughout this whole tournament. So, but go ahead.
So, okay, I was mistaken. It was the first game. It was the draft because they required 16 unique bosses in order to fight Kefka, right? And Kefka's tower had Magimaster, Inferno, Doom, Doom Gaze, and Atma. That was the Kefka tower.
Wow!
And so far, we've got 2 of those 5 on the run back here. So this is looking an awful lot like Game 2's tower match. There it is. Win a Coliseum match is not unchecked, and Joe is just realizing that now.
So he's gonna have to rerun the tower, and I don't know.
This is fine. He's gonna put his party of 3, I think, to go kill that.
Okay, so he did do the
when he comes back in.
Oh, he's gonna cross over. Maybe he'll cross over, kill the dragon, then leave and come back. But not having skip available either means he's gonna have to rerun the tower again, which again leaves another good about 5 minutes here on this run, unfortunately. So technically, Judge Joe will call it. He's basically 9 minutes behind, we're gonna say, on Narvis at this point. So it's about a 9-minute gap here.
Oh, Setzer can use the Atma weapon. Interesting. We must have gotten that from one of the dragons, because I don't remember looting that. Alright, we do have Golem, we do have Phantom, and we have Odin. So we have a couple of decent Espers, at least, for Final Kefka here.
We also have a Unicorn, which is that's one of my favorite Espers for Kefka, because it does counter the Trine ability or Train ability, depending on which version of the game got translated.
Yep. All right, Niles and Frazier here for the left side party. And Edgar's got the Paladin shield, so Narves is just going to pass the Paladin shield around to everybody in each of the lanes, so...
It's not a bad idea.
It's going to be pretty safe for him for these next upcoming fights. Let's see how Judge Joe deals with Magimaster here. This is going to be our real test here, ladies and gentlemen.
Shadow... I mean, I don't know who can use the... I mean, we have Locke, so Locke is in the party.
Locke has got VK offering, so he can actually...
should be the same situation.
Yeah, it's just a DPS race, right? Can Locke kill Magimaster before he kills us?
Yeah, and Life 3 is definitely going to help secure that, because when Locke gets auto-res, he's going to have very low health to be able to smash Magimaster in the face even harder. Yeah, there goes Niles and Frazier.
Nicely done from Edgar there.
But shout out to 60 viewers for staying up late with us for this run. as we are currently in Game 4 of the Best of 5 series between Judge Joe and Narves for the multi-category tournament. Currently, Judge Joe is up 2-1 on Narves. Those are the Chocobo heads that you see above their names. So Narves looking to tie this up to force a mandatory Game 5, which will be tomorrow night, once again at 10 p.m. right here in FF6 Worlds Collide channel. And that will actually be the Ultras League flag set, which we just got done with Season 8. So these guys will have to strap on their boots, the Ultras League tentacles here, and try to dive back into Ultras League again.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like we currently have staff for tomorrow that is available to do that race, but either way, the match will be tomorrow night, and if we can't stream it live, then we'll definitely give you guys a vodcast of it later on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not available. I'm actually going to be in a
me neither.
So I can't help, so, unfortunately.
All right, so Joe's doing a little peeking and scoping out the bosses here in the tower.
Oh my goodness gracious! Is this game 1 all over again? Well, game 2 technically. It was game 2. Because in the tournament, because Judge Joe was on the winner side bracket with Narves and actually beat Narves in the semifinal matchup. Judge Joe got a 1-game bonus. So technically, this is the 3rd game of the series, 4th game overall. So basically, these guys are kind of 1-1 right now. But Judge Joe did beat Narves in the semifinals, and Narves had to go through the loser side to get back into the grand final here.
That's correct, yep. All right, so Joe doing a little peeking there of the 2 bosses. So I'm guessing he's going to put most of his resources towards the Atma fight.
Don't proc! Oh.
Yeah, that's rough. Joe putting most of his resources towards the Atma fight, most likely there. So this is an interesting strategy here for Joe, is he's doing the Coliseum fight at the end, and I kind of like this because he's accrued so many items throughout the course of the seed. Now is the chance to maybe hopefully see we get some sort of goodness out of here. We do see the Atma weapon. Unfortunately, no ribbon, no white cape jumping out at us here. And I believe Narves is healing the boss faster than he's damaging the boss. So this is not great for him. Oh, come on, Shadow. Knock that off.
Yeah, the one times that you don't want the weapon to proc, it's actually procking here. So,
All right, so Joe is going to get requirement number 4 of 5 here after this fight. Very good. And they got to hustle and bustle back into the tower to go ahead and finish it off there. So let's see. Yeah, so that's going to be a reset there for, oh my goodness, you could flip an Atma weapon for an Illumina.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's spicy.
And we already beat Magimasters, so unless you run into Spicy Chicken, which we know you're not because he already peaked it, it's not a bad trade actually.
Well, as we're seeing with Narves, maybe Illumina is not the best thing to use against Atma there.
So Joe going for a Genji glove here.
Makes sense. All right, so Narves using the Merit Award to equip the Valiant Knife on Shadow in lieu of the... Where is it? There it is, the Merit Award. So this way he can use the Valiant Knife against Toilet Atma versus the Illumina. All right. I think that was the Illumina trade for Joe with that last one.
Yeah, but you put the Illumina onto Celeste as their spare character here.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though you have an Illumina, it's not going to do a lot of damage if you're an imp. Alright, Joe's heading back through the tower here, and they will need to fight this very last dragon here inside of Kefka's tower, and then they can move on to the 2 statue spots. Now, Narves has got a slight advantage here because they're already at the top of the tower, and they've got one of their 2 side lane bosses down as well. Just another couple of swings, I think, for Shadow, and this fight will be all over with. Although it's not great damage based on.
No, I mean, this is basically
based on
just
it.
grind our target down and just don't die. I mean, that's pretty much what they're... Because, unfortunately, the Paladin Shield is going to heal Shadow up. The lower your health is, the better damage VK does. But it's just one of those situations where I just want to get through this fight. I mean, that's pretty much what you're looking at.
Yeah, Atma can throw out some pretty nasty things. So I think it does make sense here to use the Paladin Shield, even though it's healing your party. So this fight's going to take longer, but I don't think that we're in danger of dying. And now that I say that, of course, something might happen, which could be bad. Here comes the Quake, which is not going to do anything with our Paladin Shield. All right, Joe here going to go up against his final dragon in order to unlock the final Kefka boss.
By the way, Zaxo9 with the follow about 30 minutes ago, and Helgriff Dragon with the 100 bits cheer. Thank you very much. Getting the Atma energy.
The five-legged doggo energy.
Yeah, I don't understand why it has 5 legs, unless there's a 6th one we don't see.
Yeah, well, listen, when Kefka destroyed the world, some weird things happened. It's either 5 legs or 4 legs with one really deformed foot. I don't know. What do we think? I've always said 5 legs, but now that I'm looking a little closer, it might be 4 with the messed up foot. Leoxy with a raid, party of 4. Welcome to the table here. We have had some interesting, spicy fun.
That's an understatement.
In this seed, where we got Auto Imp to start our very first seed. So that's why you see a bunch of green things running around on screen. Narv's finally taking out that Atma there, and Judge Joe going to get their final Kefka unlock by taking out that 7th dragon there. And there it is, unlock final Kefka complete.
Yeah, but they still have, I think they have 2 more bosses to get through. Which Narv's, I think, that was their last one, so...
That is correct. So Narv's is going to step up to final Kefka before Joe is. However, with B-Dash, Joe is not as far behind as you might think.
That's true, I forget with the B-Dash, yeah. So that 5 minutes is actually a lot less than I thought it was because of the, Well, I mean, then again, he was at Coliseum for a bit, so... Shopping.
Yeah. We did hit up the Coliseum for a few fun things.
So we're still looking at around 9 minutes. So we'll get a better timing when Narv's actually gets into Kefka here.
And steps on the switches with his.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta make sure. I want to make sure I get my stuff. Okay. Because we did move around a lot of gear because of the Atma fight there. So.
Yeah. Got to make sure he's got the Valiant Knife on the right party now.
Okay, so switches step, we'll call it 11:30 for the switches there. By the way, that was a 21-minute Kefka tower, exactly.
Given the fact that we had to reset against Atma and we had to kill 2 of the dragons in there, that's not too bad.
No, and don't forget Magimaster was in there too.
Oh, that's right.
So we had Magimaster, Atma, 2 dragons. Inferno was in there too. French Vanilla Inferno was in there. So yeah, it was a pretty rough tower. So
not as bad as the draft race that these 2 did, but it definitely had we have Kefka's Tower at home vibes.
All right, so we are now on to Kefka here with Tier 1. Tier 1, basically, once again, is a 3-headed beast here. We got the head, the right arm, the left arm here. Right arm is weak to immediate damage, or immediate kill, rather. The head is weak to fire, and you want to take that out pretty much second. And last but not least is fist. They're randomly enough, they're actually weak to water, of all things. But you want to take that out last, pretty much. But you have to be careful with the fist, though, because it does counter-hit you in the face for quite a lot of damage. Also, Fist, you can actually rage it if you don't like the damage hitting you as hard as it would like it to. You can actually make it hit even harder, so Yeah.
Yeah, so 1, 12, 20 is the start for Narves here. We do have Golem, we do have Odin for instant death, and we've got Phantom to help us out in this part of the fight. So I'm gonna guess that we're gonna be around 8 minutes 43 second for a final Kefka time. Magic might give us the business in tier 2 though, so that could be a gross understatement.
By the way, Narves, again, is the only one to have the full party of ribbons here. So Narves is sitting a lot better here than Judge Joe, which will have to, we believe, reset their imp status at each and every single tier that they climb up. So it's going to be a heck of a slower climb for Judge Joe in any case here.
Yeah, both runners have a Valiant Knife offering build. Both runners have an Illumina. I don't know if both of them are using a jump build on Edgar, but unfortunately the Odin instant death did not seem like it worked here on the first tier.
No, it's 0 for 3 with the Odin here. So it looks like we're going to have to kill Long Arm the hard way and hope we don't hit the fist in the process. Mithril Helm, okay.
Yeah, normally you could steal elixirs from every part of tier 1 and tier 2, but with the shuffle plus random 100% steals and drops, that's not necessarily the case here.
Yeah.
And we're just stealing trash. Can we just throw it back at the boss, please?
Well, if we had Gao in the party, we could.
Alright, so that's boss number 1 down for Joe, and they've got to get through Atma. But this fight's taken a lot longer than I thought it was going to here on Narves' screen. We're already 2 minutes and 30 seconds on this first tier.
The damage output is not crazy. Okay, so Long Arm is down. Fist is definitely going to be Fist down. Okay, there we go. Well, I mean, the other characters' damages are not like, over 5k apiece, you know? Because usually you want to have 2, preferably 3 characters that do over 5k worth of damage total, and really we only have 1, maybe 2 with the Illuminous Wings.
Yeah, and depending upon how many times Edgar jumps, right?
Yeah, so... Oh, so Locke is not yet. Locke still in because of the VK thing. That's right. So we only have 3 ribs, but still, we have no automatically. Narves does start with the characters without him. So
yeah. So you were asking the question before. Do you start every tier in the imp state? And it looks like that's going to be the case here.
Yep.
All right. So Joe unimping Gao in order for him to yeet stuff at the boss. We've accumulated a lot of weapons in the course of the seed because remember, there were empty shops, so there was no reason for us to go sell stuff. So we've just got a bunch of junk laying around in our inventory, and why not? Yeet it at the boss. Much faster Atma fight there for Joe.
Yeah, and plus got it on the first try and not had to reset there, so.
Alright, Narves is up to tier 2. 4 different parts on tier 2. We have Tiger who's doing the S-Cross and will do Zombie when he gets to lower levels of HP. The blue guy does hit and then 10 hits when he dies. The tools will do Magitech type abilities and can be instant death, although we already tried that on tier 1 and it didn't work out so well. And then magic can normally be muted, but I don't think we have mute.
Yep. No mute, no siren, so...
Yeah, so this is going to take a long time. I severely underestimated how long Tier 2 was going to take.
Well, I mean, Odin wasn't really cooperating with us. We don't have Doom or X Zone either.
Yeah.
Esper Recast is not turned on. Hits is down, though, really early here, unfortunately, because one problem we have with our party setup is that switches at 117.33, by the way. Judge Joe...
6-minute difference?
Yeah, we're looking at about a 6-minute difference, pretty much.
Okay, it's going to be a little longer now with that reset.
Okay, never mind.
Maybe he forgot to equip something.
Yep.
Yeah, so as you were mentioning, Saberwolf, with this party, we have non-targetable damage, right? We've got
Yeah, direct
our,
targetable.
our
Yeah.
our dragon horn jumping Edgar. We have our Valiant Knife offering Locke. So we have to try and direct some of this damage to the targets that we want to here. And it looks like only magic is left. And hey, he gave us an elixir anyway. Look at that.
So switches reset 118.18. So make that now 6.5 minutes now.
Yeah.
So that's tier 2. But yeah, as you're saying, like the non-targetable thing, I don't think it's gonna be a problem with tier 3 here.
No.
T3 here being a 2-headed beast here with the feminine floating head figure is girl. They have 9,909 HP, no matter what tiering levels we do here. And basically can absorb all elements, so pretty much it's on... it's really up to Locke here to try to hit all 4 hits, at least 2 hits on them. On the girl. And then after that is Sleep. That's kind of Kefka looking figure laying backwards. The more damage you deal to them, the more agitated they get, and they might cast Meteor on you. So the best way to go about this is try to take out the girl as quickly as possible so they stop healing and reviving Sleep. And then try to maybe do it like a quick double hit into Sleep to avoid the Meteor part there. And be able to take them out instantly. Now, you also want to be careful when you do take out Sleep. They have an ability called Calmness, which was a physical insta-kill ability. So that's where the Golem and Phantom Espers come into play. Also, Fenrir does this also. Helps you avoid getting that damage on you. Also, Life 3 is also useful, too. We also have Life 3 available.
Yeah, so we do have some Calmness protection here as we see Golem cast coming out from Narv's. Girl is down for them. Judge Joe finding out the hard way that Unicorn does not heal your party from Imp.
Yeah, that's the one-time use of it too, so...
Yeah, Unicorn is a party-wide remedy, and as we mentioned before, remedy doesn't actually cure the Imp status. It's only the green cherry or the Imp spell.
And it's going to renew the Imp on each tier, which he probably doesn't know either. So that's one of those, we didn't even know fully. You and I didn't even know, so...
Yeah.
No,
we postulated.
Not dispel Imp. No, it doesn't, Star. Unfortunately, it's Remedy. So Remedy does not get rid of Imp.
Alright, so there's the Valiant Knife coming out from Locke, doing 24,000 or so damage in the single turn.
Okay.
So I don't think Kefka is going to be too long for this world. So Narves has just got to execute here, and he will tie up the series and bring it to a pivotal Game 5.
Yeah, it's all about trying to get the Imp status off of Locke, because Locke definitely deals a lot more damage when he does it not in the Imp state. Trying to get that Imp status off him on the first try, and hopefully don't get Ultima countered, because if Kefka gets too low on health, he can have the ability to do Ultima on the entire party, and our health totals are not that great right now. I mean, Shadow could probably survive, but
yeah,
definitely the other 3 might not be able to.
Yeah, Shadow will be fine.
Oh, green cherry.
However,
we're gonna automatically do it. Okay, that's a safe play.
Yeah, that's a really smart heads-up play there. Yeah, Shadow would be able to survive an Ultima, but nobody else, and it depends on if Edgar's up in the air or not. So this can certainly go sideways, but Narves has to just execute here. He's going to bypass Fallen 1, given the output of...
Oh, Hyperdrive into Locke! You did not want to see that. And Life 3 was not on Locke, so... Probably got dispelled earlier on, and we are in the charge-up Goner stage now. Shadow probably will be able to survive it. The more characters you have on the screen, the less damage it deals. So we got... I don't think Locke's going to be able to charge back up in time to get a swing in here. And Edgar's back down also, so that means it's going to spread across 4 characters here. Locke definitely going down. Setzer, we're not sure about his gear.
This is the last Phoenix down, too. Yeah, this is the last Phoenix down, so this is going to be...
Everybody survived.
Oh my goodness, Locke the tank with that force shield. And that'll probably do it.
Crack pow!
Wow. GG's for Narves, finishing with a time of
122.56.
122.56. So get your GGs for Narves.
By the
Yeah,
way, that
having
was
the
a 11-minute 16-second Kefka.
Yeah, so there was somebody in the chat. Darkness went 11:08, so that I think that is
Yeah.
our closest without going over there. So we'll see if Narves wants to hop into the booth for an interview. But we are going to a game 5, folks.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get staff for tomorrow night to do the race live. But if we cannot, then we will definitely get the vodcast going on.
Yep, definitely for sure. And just a preview on that ultra. Well, we'll get to preview in a little bit. We're going to talk to Narves first. Narves. Well, so you found Setzer.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah, yeah. Because you said literally before the race, well, I hope we don't find Setzer. You said that literally before the race started, and yep, sure enough.
Yeah, I was real nervous to see that as a start. I'm like, oh gosh, what is it going to be to get this run going when everyone's imp?
But the bugs saved you.
The bug saved me. One of my first few fights, but then I couldn't find them again.
Yeah, I know. Where'd they go?
How much time do I spend looking for a couple? I wanted at least one more ribbon. I was hoping all 4 party members could be safe, and then I was like, you know what? This is just taking too much time. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Too much bug spray, my friend. So for the Jones special, what is sort of your strategy usually in these flags here?
Really comes down to the objectives. Which are the reasonable ones to get sooner, and which ones are kind of more of a long shot. So, like, finding an Esper or character, I might just do along the way of doing all the other objectives. And I save those kind of for the end if I have to hunt down something. For this case, it was, I don't know, like 3 of the objectives were done barely when the siege started, and it was like, well, dragons. You know where the dragons are. I gotta go for all 7, and I'll see what objectives I get along the way, if they match any other criteria.
And just to update everybody, Judge Joe did actually forfeit the run here. They are still running on screen, but they're going to officially mark their time as forfeit. But again, this is a head-to-head match, so it doesn't really matter what their time is going to be. There's no cumulative tiebreaker, because there is going to be a Game 5 in the series, so...
Which I have very little hope of winning. He is an awesome Ultras League season runner.
Well, I mean, you averaged 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 47 seconds throughout the entire series of Ultras League with 8 races. Joe averaged 116, about even, in 7 races. Now, that's taking into account, once again, that neither one of you ran the same exact seeds.
Yeah.
So that's taking that account, but that's just an average time of the seeds that you did face. And so, I mean, that's not that bad. That's not that far apart. 4 minutes is definitely manageable.
I will do the best I can. I will make it a fast run. It'll be a kind of an I'll break, make it or break it kind of thing.
Hey, crazier things have happened. I beat Fiery Blizzard on stream once, okay? So crazier things can happen.
Fair enough. Do we like the ability to not be able to cast Imp my own characters most of the times? I really like to block that spell.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you have...
It's your own... Yeah, it's your own fault for making your characters so tanky and giving them good magic evade.
Yeah, force shields and force armors with the high magic evade.
It definitely came in handy for Goner, right? Like, your lock tanked the Goner and then was able to win that fight, because I believe that was your last Phoenix down that you threw on him.
Well, we actually didn't need it because they all survived it, so...
Right. But I'm saying, if lock goes down again after then the Kefka fight gets a lot more sketchy for you, right, Narves?
Yeah. I didn't have much any healing items, and I didn't find anybody dropping Phoenix down, so... Yeah, it got... but I also had a Lumina with Paladin Shield and Marvel Shoes. He was a pretty tanky Shadow, too.
Going into a race like this, knowing that you already knew it's going to be Jones's special, there really isn't a way to prep yourself because you have no idea what you're walking into, really.
Yeah, that is very true. I think the biggest thing that not everybody always sees is that wire removability for the sequence breaking. I got a lot of those patented down on the best times to use it and where to go. B dash just makes you go faster. Other than that, yeah, it's just about what objectives do you need to avoid, such as I hope did not find Setzer, didn't matter, wasn't a choice. You know, things like that. You try and make things around it.
I'm going to assume on Judge Joe's screen there, the reason why they forfeited is it looks like they do not have any more Phoenix Downs or Life available.
No,
So
getting
it
heavy usage of Life 3 here.
Yeah, heavy use of Life 3. Just use it up here. And Dispel doesn't help either with this strategy. But that's it. That's no okay. So tier 2 still going. Magic is down
Is
though.
there anything besides having the imp ability in the beginning that he struggled with? Yeah, I'm assuming he didn't find the ribbons.
Correct.
Yeah,
that was a big.
There
find.
was one in Fanatic's Tower Dragon chest, so they decided to go to Fanatic's Tower, whereas you went all the way down to Ancient Castle. So obviously that was the choice that both of you guys made, saw the dragon requirements and was like, well, that's sort of the devil I know, right? I know where all the dragons are. I have no idea where Cyan and Shiva can possibly be in this seed. So I'm just going to do the stuff I know. Was that sort of a choice that you made to go to Ancient Castle over Fanatic's Tower just because of your party composition?
Yes, I feel like with Fanatic's Tower only having spells, I didn't feel like everyone was strong with casting. So I felt like I was better survival chance at Ancient Castle, even though it's a little bit longer to do.
and also, well, the other reason why Judge Joe didn't find the ribbons like you did on the bugs there is Judge Joe got the Humpty fight, which was the alternate fight for that area, and he had the lock with the Hawkeye offering. It insta-killed each of the Humpties, which you can't do because they reset themselves. So he immediately just said, you know what, I'm not going to fight this area, I'm going to back out. So it was the unfortunate event of being able to insta-kill each of the 4 Humpties on screen and have them reset on his screen and have to force them to back away from it. So that inevitably enabled his ability to get those ribbons. And nobody actually found the white capes either, so...
Yeah, that's I guess another thing too of knowing is the random loot. When it comes to random loot, usually I don't do chests, only shops for items, but I'm going to take a handful of grind fights everywhere. 1 or 2 fights in every section, because you just never know what you found. Like the Illumina I found in Mount Zozo, which I got him once, and then I beat the enemy again and didn't get him again, but I got some ice rods. So you never know what you find from those, and then you can kind of farm them and find something good.
No, that's true.
And levels. Levels always help, no matter what. Takes a little bit slower for grinding, but levels help big time.
Yeah, Judge Joe, the only way he could remove the imp status is by casting imp on himself, which I guess was a kind of a blessing, being able to learn imp so far early on in the game, so... this is...
Yeah, that was a bit of a wild ride. Yeah, this is going to be a very long Kefka fight for Joe with just these 2 party members. I think I asked most of the questions that I had there about it. So I also noticed that there was a offering for Dragonhorn. No, what was the offering trade for in the Coliseum, Nards?
Illumina.
Nope, Aurora Lance. Or Pearl
Yeah,
Lance? It was one of the lances.
Right.
The offering. Oh, the offering. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you did that because you found the offering drops. I think there was definitely some enemies that dropped offering.
A black dragon dropped it near
that's what it was.
South Figaro, World of Balance,
Yeah.
out there. So I was like, yeah, well, I can give up 1. I'm glad I only gave up 1 since I ended up finding the VK later.
Yep. That was the only other question I had was about the Coliseum.
Yeah, most of those fights I really couldn't do, so I ended up backing out, I think, most of them. Just the 1. I think I did 1, and that was it.
Kind of an awkward situation here for Judge Joe, condemned currently on their shadow here. No direct healing, I don't think, either with Cure or something. He does have X Potion, I guess. So
I think Gao has Cure too.
okay, so might have to let Shadow die here. did some tap damage out on Sleep here, because I don't think you can rush kill him at this point.
We're getting
Oh,
awful
okay, he's
low
getting
with
low. That's a Meteo, which only hits Gao, misses both though.
Yeah,
Second
do we have
Meteo
a shield
cast
to break?
here. That also
Yeah,
double misses again. Triple Meteo hits Shadow.
All right, well,
Well, take it down
this
to
has
3
got to
seconds.
do it here.
Yeah, so this is Ice 3 for 5k. Calmness comes out. Blocked.
Clutch block.
Only
Clutch
one
block.
casting. So he's still going. I'm willing to change. I mean, anyway, forfeited in the room, but if he makes it through it, we'll give him a time.
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, Narves, thank you so much for volunteering to have your race restreamed as well. For tomorrow night, currently we don't have anybody signed up, and both Saberwolf and I are busy, and we're usually the restreamers. So what might happen is you guys might have to do your race just as is, and then we'll run it back with a vodcast when we have people to actually staff it. So even if we don't broadcast you guys tomorrow night at 10 p.m., you can do your race, and then we'll vodcast it at another time so that this way we get it up there. Because I am now very curious as to who will win the tournament, because it's been back and forth between the two of you, right? This is the run back. You guys,
This is the last game, yeah.
You guys met in the regular bracket, and now we're meeting again here. So
I mean, yeah, essentially this will be like, this is game 8 for you two, really.
Yes. Well, yeah, we did two games. He beat me 2-0 in the first, so then
Oh, with a sweep.
plus
Okay.
5, so 7 games. So it will be game 8 tomorrow, in a sense, between all of them.
All right. Yeah, I would definitely recommend record it locally, pal. Both of you just record them locally and just have them available to send to probably either me or Schwans, and we'll try to get you going.
I can do that.
any other final thoughts, final words?
Very much appreciate you guys putting this on for all the races, even though it doesn't work for the last one. It's been great and has been worked great.
All right. Well, good luck tomorrow, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you. See you guys.
All right. See ya.
Tron.
So here is, so that train, I believe, means we're under 30k HP on Kefka now. So Joe's got to be careful. We're running out of things to yeet at Kefka, so we might have to start. We might have to start taking off that enhancer there and just go. It looks like he's saving that one shield for the Goner phase. So
yeah, it does
unfortunately
have
can't
Atma weapon to throw. I mean,
no, you can't throw that.
Oh, you can't throw Atma weapons. Okay, yep. He
Can't throw that. Can't throw Tiger Fangs. There's a few things that are not throwable in Worlds Collide.
That's the Diamond Shield. That's not going to be throwable either.
Yeah.
But we could throw Trump at him.
You can.
I'm not going to get political, guys. I'm just saying. You can throw Trump at him.
All right, so here's going to be an interesting thing. Goner is definitely coming out. Joe has life 3 on both of his characters. So even if, Goner comes out, if this isn't enough damage to kill Kefka, which it doesn't look like it is, Goner will come out. Both of his characters will get back up. However, this is where it gets spooky, right? Because Kefka can take 2 turns for each ATB fill, and he could do Havoc Wing twice, and that's basically the end of this fight here. So let's see what happens here on Kefka's first turn, unless Gao gets up quickly enough. Revenger is beautiful. That is what we want to see. So Joe is gonna Joe is gonna wait here for Goner. Life 3 is a good call here.
Yeah, Hyper Wing is the only ability we do not want to see right now. Kefka can double Hyper here. Second Avenger. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah. So this is Kefka's second ATB fill, so that's the Revenger, followed by the Havoc Wing, and then...
Okay, it was just one.
All right, so if you're Joe, do you throw something, or do you crack the shield here on this Goner turn?
Throw. I mean, it's Gao. Gao has very high vigors, one of the highest vigors in the game.
All right, let's see if the bar fills up and he gets the ice shield out. Come on.
He gets the cards. He's going to throw cards at him, too.
We're throwing the cards. Throw everything.
Go!
All right,
That's
so
up like
Gao,
3 again.
so Gao is going to get back up here, and
I think
he
if
better
you
break
just
that shield.
I think you just break the shield here. I think he can, unless Hyper Wing after this. No, there's no life 3 on him.
Oh, the Revenger took it off. Oh my god. Oh my god. What a troll. And we do have Joe in the booth. What's going on, Joe?
Valiant effort.
After the
I think if you throw
No,
the
there's no
shield
life 3
instead
on
of the
him.
Trump
Revenger
thing,
took
no,
it
it's
off. Oh my god.
would have been close.
Oh my god.
you can
What a troll.
throw the shield as in
Oh, break the
already-
shield.
I broke that earlier.
Oh, I thought you
Because-
still had an ice shield left in your inventory.
Valiant
No,
effort.
I did because train popped up. Shadow had to try and push damage in the other way, but I'm trying to keep that shield as the last nuke. And yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
so
well.
that is a really nice display of game, like sort of knowledge there to know the Kefka script that that you have to do. So really good.
I considered stopping at the tier 2 and just calling it good. Then that's
Mhm.
what all that pause at the was, but I decided to stick it out, see if they could finish it up.
Yeah, low level Kefka fights or hard Kefka fights will really get you in tune with how to win that. So let's go all the way back to the beginning of this monstrosity, where you find out that if you're a good sensor, you get auto imp, and of course he's one of your starting characters. What sort of was going through your mind there when that sort of came up?
I need a little more knowledge. So auto muddle, if you hit yourself, it doesn't knock it out. Like, I don't know how to get rid of it, so I wasn't sure how sticky the imp actually was. In this case, I discovered you can just get rid of it via cherries, the imp spell.
Mhm.
Apparently not unicorn.
No. Yeah, so Remedy doesn't cure imp, and Unicorn, the
Right.
heal horn is just a party-wide remedy, unfortunately.
I was like,
It's-
oh wait, let's just do that instead of my original idea. No. No.
Yeah. That's a bit yeah, well listen, it's Worlds Collide, you learn things the hard way. For Narves, he actually was able to find a grind fight. It happened to be the very first one of the seed for him, where he got a encounter of 3 bugs and they dropped 3 ribbons. So for him, he was sort of off to the races right away.
That's a little bit nicer.
Here's the hard part for you, Joe. It was in the same location when you fought those Humpties and you insta-killed each of those 4. It was the
I'm like, I
alternate
tried it.
encounter for that spot.
Nice.
Yeah, so just
yeah.
very unlucky. However, I think your strategy, which it seemed to be, go on a dragon hunt. So tell me a little bit about your approach to a Jones special seed. What do you sort of focus in on when you try and get through the seed?
Well, in a Jones seed, you start with all 8 dragons available with the Y removal. Therefore, any dragon objectives, yes, it might take a minute, they're done. So that's that Dragon 7. That's objective 1. Like 4 Espers or whatever, that's happening pretty. Three characters already done. Coliseum match, well, if you don't forget about it, it's a freebie.
I just thought you were collecting all the items and just did it at the end just to make sure you'd have some good stuff to bet. But we'll go
That
with.
would have been good, but
yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we'll say happened there, and we didn't forget.
and then in this case, so that leaves you're at 4. There's 4 objectives. You only need 1 more. 17 Espers, not happen. Don't let it happen. After that point, it was a Cyan Lock or Shiva Hunt, and we started with Lock, which meant instant go mode.
Yep. You just had to. You did the devil, right? You knew where the dragons were, had no idea where Cyan or Shiva might be, right?
You're in go mode, get your power, beat up Kefka, do what you need. That's how it goes. And the dragons are a good way to get you to Kefka fight anyway, so it's not even a terrible way to go if you're in go mode. I've had quicker go modes that give you less power.
So we are going to finally bless you with an Ultros League match in this tournament, and it just so happens to be the very, very last one. So you got your wish? Question mark.
Yeah. Oh. Turns out, having never properly or actually never really played an Auto Imp seed, there are some things that you do need something with.
Yeah, I think had there not been empty shops and you were able to buy green cherries, this would have been a lot different of a seed.
A lot easier. VK
Yeah.
offering lock did work. Go-Go was set up to be real helpful. Lots of good things in this seed, just couldn't quite make it. Narves was just faster.
Yeah, because I think you accrued a lot more power earlier on, but you know, if you go fight basically all the same dragons, you're going to get mostly the same stuff, right? And with 7 of them, he went down to Ancient Castle, which took a little bit longer, but his party was mostly physical offense, right? So a little bit slower earlier on, scaled better towards the
It
end
would
of the
have been
game.
nice
so.
if literally anyone else could equip the A or ammo weapon or anything. The party was Locke and his friends.
Yeah, so Narves ended up finding Edgar. Where the heck was Edgar? I don't remember. Saberwolf, do you remember
I do
where
not
Edgar
remember
was?
at all.
Could even have just been Shadow's free check. I don't even know if I did that at any point.
Oh, that's exactly
Oops.
maybe. I don't remember. But Narves ended up with Edgar instead of Gao. So Narves also chiming in the chat. The Humpties that you unfortunately tried to murder in cold blood, they were giving out merit awards as a steal. So that's how they. But the thing is, merit award does not allow you to equip the Atma weapon, right? It's only
I know.
It's only the Valiant Knife and the Illumina and the Ragnarok. It's not the Atma weapon, unfortunately. So. But yeah, so I think those were my questions that I had from the seed. Saberwolf, you got any?
No, I'm done for me. But yeah, it's exciting. Unfortunately, we'll see what we can do for Game 5 for you. Currently, nobody is on the slate for the restream, so we're going to recommend for you and Narves is to record the game locally, run it head-to-head, record it locally. We'll try to get it VOD'd as soon as possible. Fortunately, my selfish ones are not available tomorrow night. I'm actually
No
going to a
worries.
funeral in a different state tomorrow. So that's why I'm not available.
Condolences.
So yeah, thank you, appreciate that. but
But
yeah,
yeah, run the
so,
race as normal, and we'll give it the VOD treatment because I'm very excited to see what happens next year. So thank you as well, Joe, for allowing us to broadcast these races. It's been a lot of fun to watch them.
Oh, it's been a blast to put them on. Nar's been giving me a bit of trouble, so we'll see if I can keep up. I have a pretty solid head-to-head Ultros League from not this last, but from season 7 we were in the same group, so we'll see if that carried on and gives me the edge.
oh, right on. I mean, there is a 4-minute gap between you guys, according to this past Ultras League. Granted, you guys were playing different seeds, though, however. But you averaged 120.47. Sorry, you averaged 116, about even, and they averaged 120.47. There's about a 4.5 minute gap, according to last seeds and stats. But again, like I said, you guys did run completely different seeds, so take the stat with a grain of salt. So.
Yep.
And part of the reason why we're not able to do the restream, me and Swan's not available, is that majority of our staff is at this location right here that you see on the screen, Rando Marathon Live in Charleston, West Virginia. So if you want tons of Worlds Collide randomizers, actually including other old school retro game randomizer stuff like that, be sure to check that out their stream. More information, ffrando.com/marathon. I know Worlds Collide has at least 5, possibly 6 different streaming events during that series for the next 3 to 4 days. So be sure to check that out on their site. They'll be streaming it live, and you'll be able to see it in person if you're in the Charleston, West Virginia area.
Yep. So thank you, Joe, for everything. You got anything else before we get the heck out of here?
I'll look forward to watching bits and pieces of this back, but have a great night, everyone. Get some rest.
All right,
Yeah,
sounds
we'll do.
good. Thank you so much, Saberwolf, for putting on the broadcast and doing the commentary with me. And yeah, we'll get together to do another race sometime in the future, and we'll let you know when the VOD comes out. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll be uploaded there as well. And I think that's it for me.
That's it for me as well. Unfortunately, nobody else in our community streaming right now. I mean, it is quarter after midnight on the East Coast here. So, but we've again, once again, what you see on screen, series tied 2-2. So, grand final game, game 5. At least they will be playing it tomorrow individually on their own. Like Swan said, we will try to get you the VOD. It'll be streamed live on our Twitch channel. And of course, if you miss our streams live, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Same thing, FF6 Worlds Collide on the YouTube. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you all have a very good evening / morning, depending on where you are. and you'll enjoy.
Peace out, everybody. See you later.